What's up everyone? My name is Dave Davidson and I'm making this video today to show you the one hack to unlock all of your riding goals in 2023. What you'll learn if you watch this video to the end is the one movement and mobility secret that is neglected by so many riders who literally do everything right. They watch the videos, they get lessons, they go out to the trail and they practice, they follow their riding buddies, and it still isn't working for them. So if you want to drop, shred, rip corners, do wheelies, literally any mountain bike skill, this is the foundation, I promise. So I want you to watch all the way to the end so that you don't miss any little part of what we do. It is one big idea, but there are different elements of how it works. So stay to the end. I promise you that you will get a lot of value out of this, especially if you are a middle-aged rider looking to get back into riding or you're a beginner. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dave Davidson and I'm the founder of Mountain Bike Academy, and I do this channel and I literally created the Mountain Bike Academy because I'm here to help middle-aged riders ride like a kid again, to build a society of shredders. And if you're here to get the very best. So listen up and let's dive in.
I guess I'll do like a little unofficial intro. What's up, everybody? I'm Dave, and this is John. We're brother-in-laws. What's going on?
That's right.
We're not going to do a fancy intro today. I will kind of say the purpose of today's video is really what we're trying to do is solve the problem of you going to a clinic or you trying a skill and you're like, that's awesome. I want to corner like that. I want to jump like that. I want to drop like that. I started sounding like a rap video now. I want to whatever like that. Yeah.
So anyways, let's go with it.
Just going with it. So it's like we want to solve the problem of you trying to do something on your bike and not being able to do it. We're here to kind of help you put it all together. The whole philosophy here is like full stack riders, people who can move and do what they ask their bike to do. They're the ones who can do anything on the bike. And that's what I wanted to kind of talk about today with John. And I guess I could kind of introduce you. For those of you that don't know John, John he's like a lifelong learner. He's one of the most fantastic people I've ever met at just doing deep work around how the body moves. So not just like the study that you do of how people move and why that matters, but also you do it yourself. Like, and if you wouldn't mind, like kind of tell the 30-second version of your story, like where you started and kind of where you are today with your own movement journey, if you will.
Okay, well, the 30-second story is probably now 8-9 years ago. I was in graduate school going for an exercise science related degree, also personal training people. And I just kind of had a wake up call where I was like, dude, you suck at moving. You can't touch your toes. You can't squat past 90 degrees. And you're teaching others to quote unquote move better. Let's go down the rabbit hole and get better. And I saw results pretty quickly and just got kind of hooked on it. And I continue to just kind of explore the research out there on it. And I help people, anyone from general movers, someone who just wants to move better, kind of where I started, to sport specific stuff like mountain biking, to people who want kind of position specific things like the front splits, middle splits, back bridges, stuff like that. So kind of hit the whole realm of physical activity folks out there.
Yeah. Is your official master's degree, right, is in exercise science? Is that correct?
It's a master's of science in sports medicine.
Okay. I was totally off, man. Don't hate me.
You were close.
It's close enough. So got it, man. And so you pretty much went from not being able to touch your own toes to now you can like touch your toes while you're doing a handstand or something like that. Which is phenomenal. So yeah, obviously we're really proud of you and like happy for you. And I still can't, I don't even think I've tried a handstand. Maybe I'll get to it one day.
One day. Cool, I'll get you there one day.
Yeah. Well, if I try it, I'm going to stick with it and get to it, but it's all good. Anyways, man, tell me, okay. So like the thing I wanted to ask you about, and for the people listening in today on the channel, one thing I hear a lot from riders is like, I saw this new skill, or I went to this clinic, or I'm trying this new thing and I can't get my bike to do what I want it to. And so what I found is that a lot of times it's not a skill problem. It's literally their body doesn't move that way at all. So just talk about like what when you see a person and they're trying to do a sport and do something cool and do something like really fun with it, what are the things that you think about? What are some things you notice? Just kind of walk us through like your philosophy and a way of going about that.
I mean, it's so what you do is you watch a sport and you say, okay, what are the movement demands of this sport? What sort of position is this guy or gal going to be in while doing this sport? And then after taking a look at that, you then break it down. I like to break it down normally in the beginning, but on a joint by joint approach. So let's take, since we're talking mountain biking, let's stick with mountain biking. I mean, when you're riding on a mountain bike, you're going to get some thoracic spine rotation. You're going to need a lot of hip flexion and hip extension. And so let's break down the athlete. Can they do these things off the bike independently? Because if they can't, chances are they're not doing it on the bike efficiently, and they're not only are they missing out on a more efficient ride, they're also probably putting themselves at more of a risk for injury long term if they keep kind of just demanding this bad pattern after bad pattern over and over again. And people will get off the trail and they'll be like, oh, my low back's achy, but whatever, it goes away in 2 to 3 days. Well, a year later, that's 3 or 4 days. Another year later, it's 4 or 5 days. And then eventually you're like, well, I can't ride for a month because of this, and this. And so, it's, if you can nip those things in the bud early, not only are you going to have a probably longer riding career, but you're also going to have a more efficient ride, faster, more fun. And who doesn't want those things?
Dude, that's sick. You said something really interesting about just efficiency, because there's a big difference, right, in hopping on the bike and being able to like shred effortlessly versus I barely made it around the corner and I feel out of control. So do you have any like theories on maybe why that is? Why is it that we do that? Is that because we're riding tense and we're trying to get muscles that aren't supposed to do that motion? Are we like calling on the wrong muscle groups to do it? Or are we like, where does the inefficiency come from? Is kind of what I'm trying to ask.
It's, if you don't have access to a range of motion in a joint that should be doing that, either the joint above it or below it is going to help compensate. So a lot of times, like the hips are, for biking, obviously the best example here. If you can't get into good hip flexion or hip extension, chances are you're just going to wonk at your low back. And your low back isn't meant to be a super mobile area of the body. It's meant to stabilize. So the muscle force and power you can create from that area versus what you could create from the hips, where you've got these massive muscles, the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes working. If you're lacking ability to access the necessary hip range of motion, you're not going to be able to maximize using those big, powerful moving muscles, hamstrings, quads, glutes, and you're going to rely on things like the low back extensors, which aren't that strong of muscles, and the hip flexors too. But so you're not able to tap into those big moving muscles that are going to help you ride more efficiently. And also, it's probably going to feel just more, you're going to feel kind of more robotic because you don't have all the degrees of freedom within your body. If you only have just 50 degrees of hip flexion and you need 65 to bomb down this hill, well, then your low back's going to crank, and it's an inefficient system. It really is like comparing a well-moving body to a robot. It's a little too robotic in nature. And I think anyone who's ridden a mountain bike can say, you need to be more fluid out there. And to have that fluidity, it requires, joints that move really well.
Yeah. That's something I think about a lot is, real quick story. The whole reason why I started this channel, the Mountain Bike Academy, everything was because I went out as a young, like 30-ish year old, 29, 30-year-old. And I had back pain, neck pain, hip pain, right knee pain. and just like leftover residual yuck from some really stressful jobs that I had, and plus like sitting down and like not moving properly for years. And so I had this like blessing in disguise because I was going through that. Now, I think the reason why I had that is because I don't know if you can see this or not. Try to get it where you can see, but all my joints are incredibly loose to begin with. And so any problem that I have is like 10 times worse, 10 times faster. So I basically was an old guy as a 29, 30-year old. And so I got to experience what it was like to have this accelerated just pain where I shouldn't be having pain and tension. And I remember riding one day, and it was kind of sad. I mean, first world problems, of course. I was out riding at night after a job and on, $1,000 mountain bike because all I could afford at the time was a fully rigid, no suspension, surly karate monkey. Got out there and I was so tight, so tense, and I knew it. And I got done with my ride and I was like, I don't even know if I want to ride again. It was miserable. So I just thought to myself, gosh, like, it's not because I'm terrible. I was decent at mountain biking a year or two ago. And so it's like this inability to access motion and movement efficiently, like definitely impacted me big time. And I could touch my toes, man. So I had, the funny thing is like, dude, I've always been able, like, I'm really flexible. So I can touch my palms on the ground behind me just by like bending over. And that's like my default range of motion. But I was like really flexible, but horrible at my efficiency of using it. So like what you said about that really resonates with me personally. And it's why I'm like really passionate about this, because, if you don't move right, then you can't do cool stuff on the bike the right way. And dude, I mean, I invested good money in this and my other 4, 5, 6 bikes I have. So, you gotta be able to enjoy it.
You've lost count on how many bikes you even have.
I stopped counting, man. It's like when you turn a certain age, you just like, I don't know how old I am. Same thing. But yeah, man. But I love that what you said about just efficiency of movement, especially around being able to access different things.
And you kind of not to cut in real quick, you kind of define the word mobility there with what you said. You said, you were a guy who, kind of just genetically could just reach down, touch their toes, palms to the floor, had the flexibility, but you didn't know how to use that flexibility. And that's kind of the definition of mobility.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and you want to just kind of see a real-time definition, is stand up straight, pull one knee into your chest with a hand, pull it as tight as you can, then let go, and then try to lift that knee under your own muscular strength up as high as you can. The first one's flexibility, the second one's mobility. Obviously, the flexibility can look cool if you're in like a yoga class or something, but the mobility is what you want if you're doing things like bombing down hills on a mountain bike.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good companion episode with the one I want to do with Shams next, Shams March. So Shams is the head coach in Mountain Bike Academy. He's our guy. And the funniest thing is he said exactly what you say just a minute ago, John, which was, riding with your big muscles. He's definitely not trained in this stuff, like the movement and mobility stuff. But even he picked it up after coaching so many people. He goes, yeah, you want to ride like with your big muscles, like your quads and your glutes.
Yeah.
And what he means is, stop trying to influence the bike using inferior movement patterns is what he's saying. So here's kind of a cool like rider specific mobility test is actually arm pump. So if you're listening to this, and I mean, definitely do what John is saying to learn like your strict functional mobility. And I can tell you right now, I mean, if you get arm pump, it's not always the case. Like, look, if you're a professional rider and you are doing 6-7 minute downhill runs, or you're an enduro racer and you're doing like your 5th or 6th stage of the day, I mean, you're getting arm pump because you're tired. Like that's just what you're going to get sometimes. But anybody else, if you have medium or short length rides and you're getting arm pump, even on like a short downhill run, it's so stormy over here. Just roll with it, guys. Then actually what it is it's foot position and your ability to ride through your feet 99% of the time. I have seen that that really you're just riding on your hands too much and you're having to grab really hard. And because you're grabbing the bars really hard, you get arm pump. It's not rocket science. So it actually has nothing at all to do with your grip strength. In many cases, it actually has a lot to do with your foot position and your just how efficient you are at transferring your movement on the bike while you're riding. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that makes huge sense to me. If you can't tap in, if you don't have the prerequisite hip mobility to tap into using your big prime moving muscles, the muscles designed for locomotion very well, you're going to be pulling up on that body. Your body's going to find a way to do the task you put in front of it. And that might be the most inefficient. That might not be a very efficient way, but it might be the most efficient way your body has access to. But if you can tap into better mobility globally throughout the entire body, then, you're not going to have to rely on using body parts you don't need to. And that's going to save you energy, and you're going to be able to ride faster, longer, do that trail that's longer than you thought you'd ever be able to do. You'd be able to do that trail and just do a lot of cool stuff.
Cool stuff. That's the goal, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I think we pretty much, we covered this pretty well today. So, was there anything else in particular that you wanted to share specifically for our listeners today or watchers today? Now that I'm a YouTuber.
No, but I'd love to throw it out there. If anyone has any questions specifically for me or myself and Dave, we're happy to, kind of riff on that. If you have like maybe a case study that happened to you got a question about, we'd love to get that, go over that. I'm open to any further discussion. So if anybody has anything, feel free to
Cool.
leave it in the comments or reach out to Dave.
You got it, man. Appreciate you big time. And
Yes, sir.
if you guys enjoy this, let us know in the comments what you want to see more of. Again, like if you said you got maybe a case study or you want to chat a little bit more about it, put it in the comments below. If you're on YouTube, if you're in our free Facebook group, just DM me or tag me. And join the movement of full stack mountain bikers. Subscribe to the channel, like it, comment. Probably the most important thing though is share this with someone you think would appreciate it. Maybe a middle-aged rider who's looking to get back into it, or a friend of yours who you think just learned something good from today's episode. Appreciate you guys, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Listen up, if you align with the topics we discussed in this video, and if you feel aligned with the process of what John and I talked about today, this means you are now part of the Society of Shredders. And you're part of the elite group of riders who do not fall subject to the challenges and just kind of the downsides of being one of the 99% of people that don't know this stuff. If this is you, you are part of a group of riders that are truly on the path to mastery of mountain biking. And if you agree with the teachings that we covered in this video, then I highly, highly, highly encourage you to subscribe and like the channel, because within 30 days, I'm going to be dropping a free training on exactly how to take this to the next level and be able to work with me and my team. So my team is actually Shams March. He is a downhill racing legend, as well as John Lindsey. John Lindsey is the one interviewed in this video. If this resonates with you, you're going to get a chance in about 30 days or less to work one-on-one with me and my team to go to the next level. So again, like and subscribe, and most importantly, share this with other riders that you think would be really benefited by this. I want to build a movement here, and the more the merrier. The better the kind of people we have in, the better this can be. So I want to put it on you to invite your friends, invite the people that you think really need to see this. Let's make something great out of it. Let's go.